the Goddess Complex. My name is Ashley Michelle, Shadow Worker, Galactic Starseed Channel, and Spiritual Business Mentor. Each week, I bring you a special guest that is a spiritual practitioner, or we have an in-depth discussion on buzzworthy or taboo topics within the spiritual community. It is one of my soul missions to help you unlock your soul purpose through shadow work, care, and deep study. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Let's get after it. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Goddess Complex with Ashley Michelle, your host and resident witch. Hello, how are you? It has been a little bit. The beginning of December got a little wonky for me, you guys. And you know, if you've been following me on Instagram, there's been a lot going on. But we're evening out. We're in the middle of December. Things are feeling good. Let's get through the rest of this year with ease and grace and flow. Speaking of which, our last guest to round out the year is somebody who just recently has come into my universe. And I really am very excited to pick her brain on all things starseeds. Yes, babes, we have a starseed episode. I know you guys love these episodes and you love all the starseed tea that we can give you. So here we are. I would love to welcome Jenny into the chat. Tell the people who you are, babe.
Hi, Ashley Michelle. Thank you so much for having me. So my name is Jenny Zakrzewski and I run Starseed Academy. I've had my business going for about 2 years, and you can find me over on YouTube, where I've had that channel going for about 4 years. Again, talking all things Starseed, spiritual tips, spiritual hacks, all kinds of things.
Very exciting. Spiritual hacks. Let's talk about that. What do you mean by a spiritual hack? I feel like I have an idea, but for the people.
Oh, for sure. So I mean, there's so much that people, I like to do like videos like myths, Starseed myths that people continue
Mhm.
to facilitate. And like, there's so many like teachings out there that can be so confusing for people. So I think
Mhm.
like spiritual hacks is like really giving people so much clarity and truth around, like one instance would be, so a lot of people talk about 5D with a lot of fear, like it's a place to travel to, and you're gonna have to leave your family behind,
Mhm.
and it's like, and it becomes this fearful thing. And I can't tell you how many messages I get from people saying like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Like, I'm ready for 5D, but I don't want to leave my friends and family behind. And I just think that that's such a silly misconception that's been sent out into our community, because the truth is that 5D is not a place that you journey to outside of yourself.
Right.
It's an inside job. It's
Right.
this like level of growth within that you come to. It's
Mhm.
where you return to love. What is 5D but 500 hertz, right? So it's a love
Mhm.
frequency. And it's like you just return to that within, and you are then a 5D person. And then your reality becomes a 5D reality, because we are all sovereign creators creating our own
Mhm.
reality from our frequency within. So I can,
Mhm.
for instance, be having a 5D timeline, and my mom could be on a 3D timeline. I'm not going to leave her behind. That's the beauty
Right.
of Earth. Like
Right.
Earth is so multidimensional. You can be living right alongside people in a completely different reality than you are in, right? You
Mhm.
can be in this 3D, maybe victim mentality, and I can be in this 5D sovereign creator, abundant mentality of love.
Mhm.
And there we are on the same planet. Nobody got left behind. So you can see proof that we all live on different realities just by scrolling social media, right? You can just
Yeah.
see that people are lost, or they're in their 3D plugged in autopilot, or some people are in that fourth dimensional timeline of that sacred rage, where they're really into conspiracy theories and going down the rabbit holes, and they're so angry. And that is a real initiation, I feel, into like a 5D frequency anyway. And then you
Mhm.
starting to embrace oneness. And I love that one
Yeah.
acceptance of all,
Yeah.
it's a big deal.
Yeah, no, it's a huge deal. You brought up so many points I want to elaborate on. I guess the most recent one that you brought up, that sacred rage. I felt that. I know exactly what you're talking about. When you start to really recognize that everything that you had been told was a lie, and you start to really recognize what they're putting in our food, you start to recognize how they're numbing us with certain television shows. You start to recognize that everybody who like thinks you're crazy, they're the sleepwalkers. Like you start to recognize the problem with organized religion, how women are treated. You just start to recognize all the holes in this 3D experience that we have here on Earth. And it's enraging. You know what I mean? It really is enraging. I think a lot of people are feeling that way right now. We are in a space of a great awakening. I've been saying this for so long. I believe that one of the big initiators of it was when Neptune entered Pisces. That was in the early 2000s. And there has been this uptick in folks really wanting to get into personal development, really wanting to understand themselves from different viewpoints, whether that be through past life regressions, tarot, astrology, Akashic records readings. There are so many people seeking out our work now more than ever. And I remember having to like read my tarot in private and like hiding my tarot journals and making sure like nobody knew. And I remember that so vividly. And now so many people are at minimum intrigued by it. And I believe that once you start walking this walk, it does open up this space for this sacred rage, as you so eloquently put. I'd love for you to riff a little more on that. Because we haven't gone there yet on the pod, and I feel like so many people are feeling that way right now.
Oh my gosh, it is such an initiation. And it's like, how could you not feel that? It's like
Hmm.
sacred rage is like the desire for justice and the desire
Yeah.
for equality and the desire for truth. And the truth is that we are being kept in the dark as a species, right? We're
Hmm.
being kept in the dark and the government is hiding so much. And I do believe that there is like what people would call either a dark government or a shadow government.
Hmm.
And, that is where they're trying to, what I would even say, like, I know these are strong words, but even like try to enslave humanity in a
Hmm.
way. And it's like a
These are
brain.
not strong words for the goddess complex, honey. We
Okay.
go there. Yeah.
You never know. But it's
Yeah.
like, it's a brainwashing that's happening, and it's happening through mass media.
Yeah.
It's happening through social media. It's
Yeah.
happening through all of the regulations and the policies and the governments and the
Pharmaceutical companies, all of it.
pharmaceuticals,
Hmm.
music industry,
Yeah.
frequency of the music industry, the entertainment that you find on Netflix, it's all programming and it's all
Hmm.
designed to keep us down. And when I mean down, I mean in a lower frequency,
Right.
below love, right?
Right.
Below that, let's come together and work together. It's all about how can we separate people?
Hmm.
And that is when you find that, I mean, and the rabbit holes go deep. I mean, you can get lost in there,
You
which is
can.
not good really, because I tell people like if you I understand we need to do this research and we need to understand, we need to have that initiation of the sacred rage and really understanding what is happening on Earth with this simulation. But you
Hmm.
can't lose yourself in those rabbit holes because then you are in that really dark frequency of anger for too long, and it
Hmm.
can be addictive and it can be really harmful to your system, health wise, emotionally. We really
Hmm.
need to like almost push ourselves to start to see
Hmm.
your perspective. And not everybody is ready for that. But when you are, you can almost zoom out to this higher perspective and you can start to see that the quote unquote bad guys play a
Hmm.
role in the awakening just as much as the quote unquote good guys play
Right.
in the awakening. It's like
Right.
some people need to hit rock bottom to have their awakening. And so
Hmm.
think about the narrative of the timelines that we've seen since 2020 with COVID. I spell that
Right.
because I don't want to get,
Yeah, I
my YouTube.
am.
And all of these narratives that have been going on have been so strongly in that dark energy that it has forced people awake. I think one of the biggest awakenings we've seen has been since 2020, actually.
I would agree.
So, and why?
Yeah.
Because of what we would say were these dark agendas. So,
Right.
you play a role. And so, yes, we can get into hatred, but we can also get into this like higher self perspective of this zooming
Mhm.
out and being like, wait a minute, can I see how is it serving? Is it possible that
Mm-hmm.
it's serving in some way? Can I believe
Mm-hmm.
divine orchestration enough that I
Mm-hmm.
trust that what's happening here on earth is serving a higher purpose?
Oh my God, totally, totally snaps on that.
Mm.
So you said something that piqued my interest. Because I definitely am into the conspiracy theories. I don't get lost in them because you can get lost in them and then you spiral and then you forget the whole point of what the mission is. But I read a book by Michael Talbot called The Holographic Universe. And inside of that book, he essentially, the point of the book as a whole is he talks about the simulation. You mentioned the simulation. Do you believe that Earth is a simulation?
So that is an interesting answer. I actually did a video about this on my YouTube channel. I've done a couple
Hmm.
on this. So I do, but not in the way that people think of simulation. So people think of
Okay.
simulation as AI, artificial
Right.
intelligence. They
Right.
think it's this negative, I'm trapped inside of it. And that
Right.
does feel like the truth to me. Because what Earth is this beautiful organic creation that is like a
Hmm.
so that people can enter at different levels and different grades and have the
Right.
experience that they need, like a spiritual school. So Gaia has this unbelievable consciousness to her. And I would
Hmm.
even say she has like a mainframe consciousness, a multidimensional consciousness where she can hold multiple levels of reality at the same time, right? So
Hmm.
she can have an organic simulation running for people in 3D, 4D, 5D, 6D. We're getting there, right?
Hmm.
People might even be a little lower than 3D. And there's
Right.
and there's also other beings on earth besides humans, right? We do
Right.
have entities, we do have spirit guides coming and visiting, we have all kinds of stuff. And I feel like what makes Gaia so special and why she gets so much attention, why we all get so much attention here from the whole galaxy, is that she's able to have those multiple levels of reality or simulation. So I think
Hmm.
an organic place that Gaia holds in her consciousness mainframe where she can allow people to live out these timelines and experiences. She's like a mother creator. She creates
Hmm.
worlds, and she can keep it kind of separate in a way for people and also allow them to grow from one level up to the next, or spiral downwards if that's their path, and that's okay too.
Right.
But I think of it, yes, a simulation, but organic, not AI. So that means that we have like an oversoul that is above this, right?
Right.
And there's only a small part of our consciousness or a small, like an individuated piece of soul that actually comes into the simulation. But we're not just here. We're in so
Right.
many at once.
Exactly. I thought that was so well put. I agree with everything that you said. And speaking of other entities that come here and that hang out with us and that provide us guidance, whether it's subconscious or conscious, we both do a lot of work with star seeds. I want to start picking your brain on that. Tell me, what do you define as a star seed? What's your definition, Jenny, of a star seed?
So it's pretty open, okay? Because I think that a star seed is just someone that's had a life off Earth, off
Right.
world, right? And so I would say an awakened star seed is someone that remembers that. And
Mm-hmm.
unawakened star seed would be somebody that maybe doesn't remember that that's their history, their soul history, or their soul
Mm-hmm.
journey so far, right? So, and I think that if you want to be really open about it and you're talking about life off of Earth, do we
Mm-hmm.
include angels? You know what I mean?
Right.
That's a tricky one. Do we
Right.
include ascended masters?
Right.
Do we include everything that is
Mm-hmm.
existing outside of Earth? Because there's real dragons. There's real things like dragons, the Fey realms,
Yeah.
elementals, unicorns. Is that included? So I think
Right.
it's people really just think about it as the galactic style beings.
Right.
So that kind of is a little bit of a smaller to me perspective if you're only thinking like traditional aliens. So something to you that
Mm-hmm.
looks like an extraterrestrial, but an extraterrestrial is just something from off world. So again, that could be angelic, that could be, and I would say I have a lot of people come to me for Akashic readings. And I would say that I feel like every single person that I've done readings for, I've seen them in the angelic realms, you know?
Yeah.
Like I've seen that most of the people, or all of the people literally that I've done an Akashic reading for have had angelic lifetimes. And what
Mm-hmm.
I've really discovered is that we actually start at the top and work our way down. And by that,
Yeah.
mean, so say we're a part of source originally, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we individuate into like a soul, however that process works or looks.
Mm-hmm.
I see us making a parallel move into an angelic realm, not coming straight to earth. We go into something that's less of a shock to the soul. It's already so shocking to be suddenly an individual perspective from source. That would
Right,
already
right,
be a big move.
right.
Then what I see is that souls slowly work their way downwards because
Mm-hmm.
it becomes more challenging the lower you get, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking like downwards through dimensions.
Right.
If that's the case, we all kind of start up in these angelic realms, and then we would slowly make a move down maybe to the ascended master realms.
Yes.
And maybe we're down into Arcturians, which are very, very
Mm-hmm.
high beings, Blu-rays, Arcturians, maybe down into Andromedans, and you get even lower mantis beings,
Mm-hmm.
down into like Venusians, Pleiadians, Lyrans, that kind of thing, Orions, and then come
Mm-hmm.
all the way down to Earth. Earth is advanced. So
Right.
we prepared our frequency by descending, not ascending. We prepared ourselves by like building resilience on the way down, right? And then what
Mm-hmm.
I've seen is that a soul cycle is like a circle. So you start up at the top, you work your way down as low as you would like to go as a soul. You can go low.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely some people do. And then you start to make your way back up. And now you're on an ascension path. So it's not all about ascension. The soul journey is
I
one
absolutely,
way.
I love how you said we prepare by descending, not ascending. That makes so much sense to me. It's like a light bulb went off. And I think because of the state of the earth right now and how so many people have so many issues and I guess to say like self-regulation and creating habits and tools to help them navigate through hard emotions and the emotional intelligence and awareness to deal with some of the density that may be around them on a regular basis. So it's almost kind of like this obsession with ascension, right? I want to get out of the situation that I'm in. I want to go up. I want to leave. I don't know about you, but in my work and with my clients, that is a theme that I see often, this idea. And with star seeds in general, I don't want to be here on Earth. I don't want to leave Earth. I always knew I was star seed, but I always knew I was supposed to be right here. You know what I mean? Like I always kind of knew that. And so I think there needs to be a level of differentiation between like, am I starseed because this earth experience sucks for me? Or does this earth experience suck for me because I haven't fully embodied it? And when I say embodying it, I mean understanding yourself on a level where you know, okay, I need more water today. Something as simple as that. I understand the cues that my physical body is telling me when I am dehydrated. So instead of lashing out on my kids or my partner, maybe I just drink more water. You know, things like that. Oh, a bill came in the mail. My stress levels went high. Maybe I should dig into that tapping exercise that I learned once upon a time instead of just sitting there with the stress and lashing out on somebody. And so I guess what I'm getting at is us as spiritual individuals having a very human existence, how can we differentiate from like escapism? Thank you, Spirit. That's the word I'm looking for. From this escapism mentality versus understanding and knowing your true spiritual essence and your mission and what you're supposed to be doing here and the work you're here to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was so well put. I think escapism to me sounds like, and I've been there, we've all been there. Um,
Yeah,
Escapism to me sounds like victim mentality.
a little
And I was
bit, right?
in victim mentality when I was doing that. I was in the woe is me, and so then I needed the wine or whatever it
Mm-hmm.
was to feel better.
Right.
And the truth is, the opposite of victim mentality is to get off of that. That's programming. I
Mm-hmm.
say to people, you want to take a sleeping pill? That's victim mentality. You just keep
Right.
taking that pill and you'll just stay asleep. You want
Right.
to take radical responsibility for your existence and everything that's going on around you. You got to
Mm-hmm.
step into the sovereign creator. And you can't pick and choose when you want to do that. You either do it or you
Right.
don't, right?
Right.
It's like
Right.
you have to either take responsibility for the good and the bad, or you're back into that sleeping pill of victim mentality. And so
Yes.
this sovereign creator is like the next phase of manifestation. It's so
Mm-hmm.
much more like manifestation is a lot, The Secret, it was like, oh, well, just think positive thoughts.
Right.
And sovereign creator is become what you want to see in the world. Embody
Exactly.
it. You can't just say the words. You have to become,
Exactly.
right? So if I
Ah,
can
so true.
cultivate and hold the frequency of abundance inside my body, I will see abundance in my life. Out of
Mm-hmm.
cultivating the frequencies that I'm looking for and frequency matching to them to bring,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's the opposite to me of escapism and all that. That's where then you start to be like, oh, wait a minute, I have a mission for being here. And that
Mm-hmm.
can fill you with a fire for being on earth. And that's where I think the goal would be, is to find that mission. I help people with that a lot. Mhm.
How?
Helping people to find their mission. So I
Yeah.
do a lot of like soul gift readings for people.
Mm-hmm.
And so everybody has like soul gifts that they carry with them in their soul. They're a
Mm-hmm.
culmination of like many lifetimes of where you've mastered things.
Mm-hmm.
Come here to earth, and nobody is here on earth. Like, I believe that if you're here on earth, you chose to be here. That's my belief. Like, I
Right.
don't believe
I
that
believe
we're
that too.
okay, good. Like, I just believe it's you've created a soul contract. This is your next step. You're here to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a two-way street. You're here to receive something from being on earth, which is generally like healing, great
Right.
healing, quantum healing. But then you're also here to be of service. And the best way to be of service is to use your gifts in service, right? So then
Mm-hmm.
like, well, what are my soul gifts? What is my next step? And I love to channel their Akashic gatekeeper, which is their lifetimes, their higher self, and really get into, okay, I see they're showing me maybe an Egyptian lifetime where you were this priestess and you were a healer, and you still have that divine archetype and those codes within you. And here's how
Mm-hmm.
you activate that in this life. And this is the timeline where you feel the most fulfilled. It's about
Mm-hmm.
you feeling fulfilled, but also being of service, right?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Totally. I love that. So my next question for you is I want to dig into your spiritual awakening. Um, I am of the camp that we have multiple spiritual awakenings over time. I want to dig into the spiritual awakening that set you off into recognizing that you wanted to be a professional mystic, a professional healer. You wanted to do this as a business, right? I've noticed in my work that there are, I call them like two camps, right? The spiritual seeker and the spiritual business bay. And the spiritual seeker can often turn into the business bay, but not all the time. There are lots of people who seek out this juiciness for their own personal development, and that's it. So for you, what was that transition for you to go even to the next step? Because this is not an easy road. Building a business off spiritual gifts, off Akashic record readings, off tarot readings, that's not an easy road. So what made you want to do it?
Yeah, so true. And I agree with you that there's multiple spiritual awakenings, or even
Hmm.
is it just one big long journey? Like our healing,
Yeah.
it's just one long journey. Because I remember
Yeah.
being a kid and I literally had these gifts poking through, but I was in a
Yes.
religious household, so it was
Me
like
too.
not allowed.
Yeah.
And I remember having, like you said, then the next awakening, somebody gave me the book The Secret. That was in 2007.
Hmm.
Left the religion, left my marriage, left everything.
Hmm.
And then so I would say probably like 2018, I started receiving a soul nudge. I started getting a
Hmm.
soul nudge that I was supposed to be on YouTube. And it kept
Hmm.
nudging me and nudging me and nudging me. And what that can feel like is, like thoughts coming into your mind. That'd be like clairaudience or claircognizance, where I'm receiving these thoughts that I'm supposed to be on YouTube. I'm getting these clairvoyant visions of me actually on YouTube doing.
Hmm.
Every time I watch YouTube, like some of my favorite spiritual teachers back then, I would get this rushing, like clairsentient, like tingles in my body. Like, I
Yeah.
can do that. I know what they're talking about. I have my own opinions on that. I should be doing this too. But fear often stops us. When we get these soul nudges, we often go into like self-worth issues. Like, well, what do I have to offer? Well, why
Right.
would anybody care to listen to me? Well, they're
Right.
already doing it, so why should I? So I actually stayed for like a year in this place of knowing that that was my next step, but being too afraid to do it. And then finally, like January of 2019, the beginning of the year, I was like, that's it, I'm doing it. And
Hmm.
that was my moment, stepping behind that camera, getting on YouTube. That was the moment that changed everything for me. I was terrified, but that's not
Yeah.
a bad thing. Like you should almost like follow, not necessarily so much fear that it like dysregulates your nervous system, but you should follow your joy, but it should still have a splash of fear so that you're stretching yourself. You
That's
know,
exactly it. I mean, when you do something that scares the shit out of you, that's when you know you're onto something, you know,
and I was talking
staying, yeah,
about like star seeds before it was cute. Like,
right.
because you said,
I
like,
love
you've
that.
been doing this
I
work
was
a
doing it
while.
before it was cute.
Yeah.
Like, I feel that so hard.
Like I
Yeah.
was getting backlash on YouTube from
Yeah.
people like she's crazy. This not like it
Yeah.
wasn't cute, it wasn't trendy. We weren't there yet. But I
Right.
knew that these things were happening. I was talking to spirit guides. I was getting abducted. I was having
Yeah.
good and bad experiences in the light and in the shadow. I was having real things happen to me. And I was like, I need to
Hmm.
talk about this. And it was
Right.
risky. But what I ended up doing was building a community. And here's a secret for anybody that's listening that is a spiritual business owner. Long form content like YouTube or a podcast builds a community of fans. And
Sure
you don't
does.
want followers, you want fans. You want people
Yeah.
who want to support you. They become like these OG fans that will support everything you do later. And the reason
Hmm.
why is because long form content gives your personality a chance to shine. People,
Exactly.
it's so different than a
Exactly.
quick Instagram post, right?
Right.
And you I also feel like I get to go a little more wild on YouTube.
I
Instagram
agree.
so curated, but in my YouTube, it's like your podcast episodes. It's a
My
little
podcast is the Wild Wild West, man. I do
yeah,
what the hell I want on this thing. Yeah. And they
exactly.
know it too, and they love it. They love the cringe. So,
Exactly. So
yeah.
that's what I feel like long form content. Go wild, be yourself, go off the rails. Like just talk about whatever you want to. And then,
Yeah.
maybe Instagram is your more, not that you want to be, contained, but I understand that
Curated, maybe not even curated, polished, maybe
professional. Yeah.
professional. Yeah, I would totally agree with you. That was a great tip. So, any of y'all who are listening, listen to this girl. I've mentioned this before about long form content. We're saying it for a reason, friend. Um, yeah, I love that.
All
And
of
one thing too, that I love that we're talking about when it comes to like creating content and like long form versus short form and putting ourselves out there. There is something so freeing and healing of our own witch wound when it comes to creating this sort of work and talking about our own experiences. And there's something about it. And I'm sure you get clients that come in, because I do all the time, who are going through imposter syndrome, witch wound sort of stuff. They've got all this fucking magic. They're absolutely brilliant, but they can't like pull the trigger. They block themselves in so many ways. And I personally believe the witch wound has a lot to do with it. Because, like we were talking about programming before, we are programmed to shut the fuck up about this sort of stuff on a deep level. Not just us, but the people that came before us, our parents, their parents, their parents. So it is literally ingrained in our DNA that we are wrong, that something is wrong with us, that we are crazy. The whole alien thing, I'm going to get on my soapbox, but I talk about this all the time. I think it is the silliest fucking thing for somebody to not believe in aliens at this point in time. The fact that people even dismissed the idea of aliens for so long and still are is so mind-boggling to me. So you mean to tell me that on Earth we have a universe that supposedly goes infinite, infinite, does not stop. We are the only living creatures? How arrogant. It just doesn't make sense. And it goes to show it's a testament to what we were talking about. It's a testament to this dark agenda. It's a testament to these programs that are running. It's a testament to keeping people in a lower vibration. The idea that there are still people in 2023, at the time that this is being recorded, still laughing at the idea that aliens could even exist. It's
That
crazy.
brainwashing goes deep.
Deep, deep.
Hmm. That's programming. That's
Mm-hmm.
programming right there, that anybody that ever
Mm-hmm.
speaks out about their experience of
Right.
disclosure or whatever is
Right.
trashed, like completely
Right.
their reputation. You know, like I did some channeling around disclosure before, and what came through was that people that have like, you know, video or proof of it, it's immediately confiscated, as you
Right.
know. And then people, I've heard people say, oh, they were bought off. They were bought off. They
Right.
were paid to be quiet. And I received information that that was not the truth, that they were threatened to be
I
quiet.
believe that. I don't think they
Family
were
was
paid.
threatened. Yeah, family threatened. They can destroy your financial credit, which ruins your life,
Mm-hmm.
basically. Like there's so
Mm-hmm.
much that they can do that people are just like, nope, never mind. A
Right.
really modern example of this, maybe you saw this. Do you remember that girl in the video on a plane?
Yep.
And he was
I saw it.
pointing, saying, that
I
motherfucker
saw it.
is not real. He's
Yep.
not real. She
I
saw
saw
something.
it. She
She saw
did.
something. She looked scared and she was getting
She
off
looked
that
scared
plane.
as all hell.
Yep, they
And then
found her
I saw her
months
video
later.
later.
Mhm.
Yeah, just acting like I don't know what was wrong with me. Please
Yeah,
excuse my behavior.
exactly.
She looked freaked out
That's what
in
I'm
that
talking.
video.
They found her. She's probably been threatened. She's been like
Mhm.
quieted, right? So, how can we have disclosure? I mean, I'm sure you experience this. I get censored all the time.
Yeah.
I've lost like my accounts before.
Hmm.
I've had
Hmm.
videos taken down. Like you can't say certain
Yeah.
things. That's not
No.
freedom of speech, right?
No, no, there's certain things you can't say, certain words you can't drop. Now, for any audiences that are listening or are like brand new to any of this, can you just define disclosure for my audience?
Yeah. So disclosure is aliens making themselves known, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
their own decision or through somebody having video or pictures or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. Disclosure means it's proof that they're real. It's proof that they're
Right,
now we
right.
have so much proof. There's
So
already
much.
there's ships, there's alien bodies, there's all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but it's in the hands, it's been confiscated, so it's in the hands of the
Mm-hmm.
government.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Where do you see us going when it comes to ET, UFO, alien talk, starseed talk in the future? I suppose as a collective, so we'll include the Muggles, and then as spiritual folks. I know it's kind of like a heavy question, but I've been picking the brains of kind of everybody I work side by side with in this universe because I can feel something bubbling around this topic over the next couple of years. I'm not quite sure what it is yet, though.
Ooh, I got chills when you said that. That's exciting.
Hmm.
I love
Yeah,
that. I want to have that huge, I want it to go mainstream and have that
me
huge.
too.
Mhm. And I think that it will. I do think that we're on a path to that.
Hmm.
I was doing some 2024 predictions, some videos on YouTube, and something that came through around disclosure was that that so I'm going to use some starseed talk, so that like the Galactic Federation of Light and the Pleiadian Council of
Hmm.
Light and those councils that are in our own Milky Way but are not really allowed to make their presence known to humans
Right.
are actually going to bypass the government information controlling that they're doing through bringing disclosure online, like through the internet,
Hmm.
hacking into the internet. And I was asking them, like, what do you mean by that? And they showed me like satellites hovering off of Earth. You know, it's all outside of Earth's atmosphere. It's all there
Right.
for them to
Right.
access if they want to. It's all just a frequency of tapping in. And then when I asked them what did they mean, and they said, well, starting small at first by helping to release information, such as like the video of the family in Las Vegas that had aliens crash in their yard. That was like a
Hmm.
very shocking video, and suddenly it was all gone and removed, right? Well,
Right.
they can help to like release things that are confiscated. So it was almost like this kind of back end disclosure using what they had, where they could
Hmm.
bring it to the internet, kind of hack in and release information, videos,
Hmm.
articles, pictures, starting to
Hmm.
flood the mainstream. And once it's on the internet, people get copies going, and you can't stop that then, right?
Right. Right.
We're going to see disclosure happen in the most modern way, which is so funny, the internet.
That is right on brand for the age of Aquarius. I don't know how much you dabble into astrology, but we are moving out of the age of Pisces, which was essentially Pisces in astrology is known as the age of the martyr. It's a Jesus Christ sort of frequency, monotheistic religion, Western religion, all of that. Hence why the patriarchy was on top for so fucking long. And now we're making this move, this transition into the age of Aquarius. And we've been doing this now for a number of years. And it's a long creep. It's not like tomorrow we're in the age of Aquarius, but Aquarius and the zodiac is ruled by aliens, astrology, star seeds, UFOs, odd energy, and the internet and technology. So the age of Aquarius is also known as the age of technology. So that is actually right on brand for aliens coming through the internet and making themselves known more so. That's absolutely fascinating to me.
That's so cool.
Super cool. So real quick, I wanted to talk more about some of these starseed terms we heard a lot. You kind of piqued my interest and you talked about that. The Galactic Federation, the Pleiadian Council of Light, the Council of Nine, everybody, all the things, right? Do you mind giving kind of like a brief definition of some of these words that I know some folks are coming across while they're on TikTok, while they're on Instagram? One of my goals as a spiritual worker is to help people find the right information, right? There is so, like, we kind of started off this conversation with that. There's so much information out there, and there's so much false information out there. And honestly, it's hard because, not to tangent, but my Sagittarius ass is going to do it. It's hard because I'm so happy that so many people are curious about these topics that you and I have been talking about and ciphering about for fucking decades, right? So that's really cool. But the flip of the coin of this age of Aquarius and this age of technology is there are people who are not ready to hold this higher level of frequency, who may even be lower than 3D, speaking on things that they really shouldn't be speaking on. Like they're just not there yet. And that's not a slight towards anybody. What I'm getting at is, when I see people pulling tarot cards on TikTok and they're completely fucking up the significance, and this is like how many hundreds of years old, and I've been reading for how many decades, it makes me nervous that these witchlings and these star seedlings and these new earth leader babies are ingesting incorrect information. So before we even go into the star seed stuff, any thoughts on that? What I kind of just
Oh my
riffed about a little
gosh.
bit.
So
Yeah.
many on that. My strongest thought on that is my biggest thing, you said the tarot cards really gets you. So my biggest thing is ego channeling. I
Right.
can see someone channeling, they're saying they're channeling a message from Jesus, say, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yet the message is so filled with separation,
Yeah.
vision, and
Yeah.
clearly that channeler's own ego, thoughts,
Hmm.
opinions. That's ego
Hmm.
channeling, right? That's
Yeah.
not our channeling. So what I did was I created a framework for what I call clean and ethical channeling to
I
make
love
sure
that.
your own ego is set to the side. And I teach that in
Hmm.
my signature program, Psychic Light. I teach clean
Hmm.
and ethical channeling because what I want to do is empower all of these people that are finding their gifts,
Right.
the new age citizens, basically,
Right.
who are
Right.
becoming new age leaders, new earth leaders, right? And these new earth leaders need to be, in the purest information coming through. So clean
Yes.
channeling all the way. And when I see ego channeling, it definitely gives me the cringe for sure.
Hmm.
So I think
Hmm.
that, like you said, and one other thing I wanted to say was to help people use discernment, look at the person delivering the message and decide whether their message is coming from a place of love or
Hmm.
a place of paranoia, fear, and division. If it's coming
Yup.
from a place of paranoia, fear, and division, then all of their messages are tainted with that and
Right.
not, to me, not accurate, right? So
Yeah.
got to make sure that the person that is giving the message behind the channeling or behind the cards is someone that is firmly rooted in love.
Totally. I was just going to ask you, what do you suggest? That's great. That's great. Now, so yeah, some of these definitions, Galactic Federation, all of that, can we do like a quick like powwow of some of these terms that are becoming more and more like buzzwords? I feel like the Galactic Federation is like the new shadow work. Like everybody was using the term shadow work for so long, and now I'm hearing Galactic Federation everywhere.
Mhm. And the same thing, again, to use discernment, because a lot of people are trying to spread fear around that.
Yes,
And
exactly.
is it coming from a place of fear and paranoia? And then you know that that is not an accurate message, right? So just to say
Right.
that they're not a negative source at all. So the Galactic Federation of Light is specific to the Milky Way. Each
Hmm.
galaxy has their own federation. The main central hub is the grand central sun, and that would be where kind of everything reports to, right? But each
Hmm.
galaxy would have their own federation. We have the Galactic Federation of Light. That's what they've been telling people that they want to be called for a long time now. And so that's
Right.
what they call the GFL. If you want to see,
Hmm.
that's what they will say. And so what that is actually the federation itself is like more like an umbrella where there are smaller councils underneath it that all work
Hmm.
together, and them all working together makes a galactic federation of light. So the
Hmm.
galactic federation of light is comprised of like a leader from every star nation. So you would have
Hmm.
the Pleiadian Council of Light, the Andromedan Council of Light. Everyone gets a say. It's like a democracy in a way, where everybody
Hmm.
gets a say and everybody gets to participate. And the Galactic Federation of Light, smaller councils under the umbrella of it, are people that are interested in free will, restoring free will, and oneness, right? Like
Hmm.
balance, oneness, free will.
Hmm.
It's not about eradicating the darkness,
Right.
it's balance. Because shadows and darkness play a role in the universe,
Hmm.
our lives. You can look at your own timeline and see how much you learned from your dark nights. So
Right.
it's not about eradicating darkness and everything being love and light. That's not it either, right?
Right.
It's balance. It's a balanced amount of love and shadow inside of each person and inside of Earth and in the galaxy itself. How can we get to harmony, which is a balance of the two? And so again, the Galactic Federation is just a word for when all the small councils work together. So there is no Galactic Federation of Light necessarily. It's all of the Milky Way coming together, the beings, the councils of light coming together to work together. And
Hmm.
there's even a council for humanity. And it's kind of a mixed bag of lots of Pleiadians and different kinds of beings, mantis beings that are all interested in helping humanity. Humans are on there. And
Right.
and so you can always, you know, you can meditate and try to connect with the Galactic Federation of Light. And what you'll see is, if you're clairvoyant, you might see an actual being, and what you'll feel is love. And what
Right.
you'll receive is beautiful advice around love and bringing people together. And if it's anything other than like love and bringing people together or information around timelines and ways to help humanity, then that's not it. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Beautiful. So well put. So well said. Oh my God, this was such a rich conversation, Jenny. Um, Before we round out, I would love for you to let the people know where they can find you, how they can work with you, what you have going on in your universe, the whole shebang.
So you can find me as Starseed Academy on YouTube and Instagram. On Instagram, look for the blue check because there's lots of duplicate accounts where people, the scammers. And then how you can work with me is if you are looking to discover your gifts, master your gifts, then you want to join Psychic Light. That is where I train people into their soul gifts, speaking the language of the clairs, clean and ethical channeling. We cover Akashic records, astral travel, light language. Like there's so much. It's a huge course. And it's a certified course too. So you get a beautiful certificate at the end. If you feel already pretty strong in your gifts and you are looking to now build your empire, then you want CEO of Light, which is my program for people that are either trying to start a spiritual business or already have one and are looking to break through to their next level.
I love it. Ah, so good. Super good. And we'll put everything down below, including your Instagram handle and the whole nine. This was so good, Jenny. Thank you so much for your time.
Was so good. I love these kinds of conversations that are all over the place, but they feel
Yeah.
so divinely led. It was beautiful.
Super true. You all already know the deal. Like, share it with a friend. Share it with your mother, share it with your partner, share it on the gram, tag us, DM me, let me know what you think. This was a great episode, and I will see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao for now. Hey, babe, did you love the episode? I sure hope so. Don't forget to enter that contest to win a $500 voucher to be used inside of the Starseed Shadows universe on anything you want. How amazing, right? So here's how you enter. You leave me a review on Apple Podcasts. Make sure you take a screenshot of the review and tag me in it at Starseed Shadows on Instagram. Super easy, super simple. Write the review on Apple Podcasts. Put it in your stories on IG, tag me in it, and you will be entered to win a $500 voucher to be used on anything inside of the Starseed Shadows universe. We choose a new winner each month. So let's get it, babe. Thanks for listening. See you next week.